Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know every time I wear white it throws off my lighting a little bit, so y'all are just gonna have to bear with me. Today's video is one that should have been filmed sooner, but I just didn't have the time to actually go through everything and make sure that it was organized and that it made sense. But today what I'm gonna be doing is my 2019 makeup favorites. I filmed this awesome new video, Valentine's inspired, sugar and spice and everything nice. So I guess I'm gonna start with like how I would normally do my makeup. So the very first thing I'm gonna start with is primers. Now there's two primers that kind of took over my life last year, and the first one is the Wet n Wild matte primer. This is so good. It'll keep you matte all day, and it's, you know, photo focus, so flash proof and everything good. And it's super affordable. So this one I still love, I still recommend. And the second one that once I tried it I just couldn't not use it would be this J-Cat mattifying face primer. Now the thing about this one is that not only is it a mattifying primer, but it's also a pore minimizing face primer, and it's oil free. If you've got oily skin, which I do, I tend to get oily in like my T-zone, then this is the primer for you. It's a little bit on the pricey side. It's $15, which is more than I would normally pay for a primer. But this guy, guys, is so good. It's so good if you've got oily skin, and it gave me that sensation of like a filter, but in real life. So this guy, go get it. I got mine at the Morphe store, so I just highly recommend. The one foundation that I've been obsessed with this year has to be my Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This foundation is so good. It's flash proof. This is an amazing foundation. I highly recommend it, and I know they just came out with a dewy version of it. I'm pretty happy with this one. It doesn't say it's mattifying, but I'm pretty happy with this one, so I haven't even tried the other one. Like, I don't even care, because this has been my ride or die foundation for sure. Now for concealer, my favorite concealer of all time last year has got to be this one, the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This concealer is so good. So full coverage. It just covers everything flawlessly. It gives you this absolutely beautiful finish, and I'm obsessed. And this is actually glass, so you do have to be a little bit careful, but this is my go-to choice. I would say that it's preferable to any other concealer out there on the market. And I also tried a few concealers this year, and I just was, none of them matched this, and they were all disappointing, or they were all just, you know, left me they made me feel like it was a little bit, I was shorted. I was fucking shorted. Alright, I was shorted. Now the next thing I wanted to touch base on is my Hourglass Veil powder. Nothing compares to this powder. Absolutely nothing. This is just such a fantastic powder. I am in love with it. I don't think I can use anything else because it's just so damn good. This is gonna be the guy I replace. It's worth the price. It's worth the money. I love it. I'm obsessed. Okay, and the other powder which I absolutely loved for all over my face was the Maybelline Fit Me powder. And I use it in 20 light medium. This is just such a good powder. It's not messy at all. It's just, it's a great powder. It's super smoothing. I can't believe I forgot my other powder. Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, which I use obsessively all over my face. That one and this one. I was going back and forth between those two powders. So let me go find it. My Charlotte Tilbury airbrush flawless. I don't use it under my eyes generally, but I like to use it for all over the face. And then the next item, which is also in our foundation world, is the Makeup Forever foundation. I'm in Y335. Yeah. It comes with a really nice size mirror, you know, 4-finger mirror. Great undertones, and the applicator, which I do use. I use every time I would put this foundation on, it was always with the application. This makes makeup be the easiest thing of life. You just, it's like it has a perfect amount of coverage, so you just kind of smooth it on and it just smooths everything out, and it's beautiful. My only recommendation for this is if you're going to use it, do it with a moisturizing type of primer. So I love using this with the Kylie Jenner primer. That one is very moisturizing. It's not my favorite primer, but if I'm going to be using this, then that's the primer I go for. Anything too sticky kind of just makes it a little bit difficult to kind of blend all the powder out. Okay, let's move on to, I normally do my brows next, so let's move on to brows. For brow pencils, I think that once again, like last year was the year for me of trying a bunch of new makeup, a bunch of different things, and then I realized that the Brow Wiz is legit the shit. Every time I would go back and look at other videos or pictures, I'd be like, dang, my brows look really good. Like, what did I use? And then I look and it was always the Brow Wiz. So this is an item that I'm definitely going to repurchase because it was just feeling so good last year. And the next item that I also fell in love with was this Believe Beauty eyebrow product. It's just a little tiny brush. It gets the perfect amount of product in there, and it's so good. It's so good. It's not too excessive. It's not, you know, over the top. The shade's not too warm. So good. It's so good. If you haven't watched my video, this is the makeup line that Dollar General has. Not to be confused with Dollar Tree. Dollar General. But if you want to know all my thoughts on Believe Beauty affordable makeup, go check out that video. And now let's talk about some palettes. I don't have that many palettes, so there were a lot of releases, there were a lot of beautiful things out there, but these were the ones that I felt like were truly the shit. The shit. So I've got to give a shout out to the Eman Catrice collab. This is the eyeshadow palette. It has all these beautiful shades, and the reason why we're going to give this fella a shout out is because this is a fabulous travel friendly palette at an affordable price with beautiful pigmentation, and I just felt like anytime I wanted to do something quick out the door, this was always what I got. Anytime I traveled and wanted to have a neutral option, this is the one I packed. So even though I have a lot of palettes that have neutral tones and things like that, I always felt the need to carry this one because I knew I could always get a very easy, simple, neutral eye look with it. And because of the cardboard, you know, the size, it just made it so easy for me that I'm a little surprised because I definitely said that I didn't think this was a must-have palette, but it just makes traveling and easy eye looks just smooth, easy, not a problem. So for that reason, this is one of our favorites. The next item, the Proceed With Caution collab, Shayla X ColourPop collab. This, I just love this palette. There's so much versatility in this palette. I love this yellow. This yellow is by far one of my favorite yellows. I definitely did a look with this last year because I go back to this yellow over and over again. And just like it has a great combination of mattes and yellow. I'm just obsessed. Because of that yellow, this was one of my most used palettes last year because I loved that yellow. It was my go-to yellow for pop of color, for all over the lid, for anything. It was just fantastic. So those two, and of course, y'all already know I raved about this palette when it released and when it came out. So the next baby on the list is the Jackie Aina X ABH palette. Now she is beautiful, she is gorgeous, she is diverse, she is everything. She is everything. This palette has so much richness in colors and pigmentation that I just loved it. I loved it. Everything this palette represents for, I think this is a must-have palette of 2019. And even though there were a lot of great collabs with ABH last year, for me, this was the one that was worth the money. Now, this is for 2019, so let's not start talking about 2020 because this was 2019. But this was, I still think, a must-have palette. And the last palette that I'm going to talk about, and this palette, this is like... This palette is just everything. This palette is everything. This palette is affordable. This palette has a lot of colors. This palette is, you know, a YouTube collaboration with a very wonderful, real YouTuber. Every time I looked at this palette, I felt inspired. Every time I used this palette, I was just blown away with how beautiful everything blended. And I know you guys are like, okay, hurry the fuck up, which palette is it? But it's gotta be the So Jaded palette. And I think that if there is one palette out of the 4 that I would have to select, it would have to be this one. And there's many reasons for that. It doesn't come with a mirror, which on one hand is great because it makes it more affordable. But on the other hand, it also makes it great for traveling. 30 pan eyeshadow palette. So it was their very first big palette. I'm so happy that they chose to do this with Kathleen Lights because she is absolutely amazing. And just every time, over and over again, I gravitate toward this palette. Almost every time I travel, I will travel with this palette. And that's what I mean. This color right here, Citron, it's just absolutely outstanding. Great to blend in greens. This color, Peridot, gorgeous. Gorgeous on the eyes. All the greens, all the turquoises. Onyx, I wore that on my birthday all over for smoky eye. There's just so much that this palette has to offer. And I'm just obsessed with it. I love it. I continue to love it. You know, as you guys can see, this is probably my most used palette of 2019. Next item that I want to touch base on is gonna be my favorite liner for the year. And this one, it hits all my boxes. From the ease of use, from the brush, from the affordability, from the mattifying liquid liner. This is it. This is it for me. This one's a winner. I actually repurchased this last year because I ran out and I couldn't deal with it. So I purchased 2 because I was like, I don't want to run out. I don't want to run out. So this liquid liner is a must-have. Let's move on to some contouring and some blushes. I guess let's do the contouring first. One of the finds that I had was the Too Faced Cocoa Contour. I got this at TJ Maxx, and this is just one of my most used contours for last year. This shade right here is a must-have. I don't really care for the light shades. I did try them, but they just weren't for me. It does smell beautifully, but the contour shades in here are both absolutely stunning, so I would highly recommend. Okay, and now for blushes. One that is absolutely a fave is the ColourPop blush in, this is the Super Shock Cheek Matte Blush in Between. It's in Between the Sheets, so it's called Between the Sheets. This blush kind of blew me away because when you touch it, it has this very interesting consistency. It's not really a powder. It's more like a little putty, and then you apply it on your cheeks and it just looks beautiful, and it has that beautiful like brown rose, dusty rose type of shade to it. It's one of my absolute favorites. The Catrice X Eman was one of the best ones because it was affordable, because it travels easy, because, you know, it applies beautifully. But these right here, I loved the heck out of these. And once again, anytime I wanted to travel with blushes, essentially this guy was coming with me because it gave me all the options, and it just has some very, very beautiful shades. I think Shisha and Cairo were probably my most loved, but definitely Alexandria was always used as a topper since it has a little bit of that shimmer. But these guys, if you haven't tried the Eman x Catrice collab, go get it. It's still out there. It's still, you know, being sold in stores. And I also did a review for that, so I'll link it down below as well. I only have one highlight that really, that I guess really stood out as being a favorite. I use many highlights, but they weren't necessarily like 2019 highlights. I used a lot of highlights, but they just came from different times. But the one highlight that I really did enjoy was the Kylie highlight in 22 carats. And this one has the little lid, and it's a little bit of that like liquid highlighter. It's more on the liquidy side than the gel side. But this was a great option. And now let's look at mascara. Are you guys shocked? This is by far my favorite mascara. I don't know if I can ever use anything else because it's so affordable and it's so good. And it's so good that let me tell you how good this is. That I was, my niece came to visit me, my goddaughter came to visit me, and you know, I was driving us somewhere, and all of a sudden she goes, you know, hey Nina, what mascara are you wearing? And I was like, why? I was like, does it look good? And she goes, yeah. She's like, it looks really good. And I was like, let me put you on my Essence Volume Stylist. I've been on this for a while, so go get it. I've been talking about this for a while. It's super affordable. Go get it. You can find it in Ulta. I love it. And then two pairs of lashes that I want to talk about is I don't have them anymore because I've used them and reused them and used them so much I ripped them apart. Allura Light by House of Lashes are so stunning. I was so upset when I ripped mine. And the other ones that I gave so much love to were the Violet Voss Just Slayin'. I'll try to insert pictures if I can find some where I was wearing these lashes. Okay, so let's do eyeliners. And some of my favorite black liners have got to be the black one by Believe Beauty. This one was $5. And the Jordana 12 Hour. They were both super black. They're both super affordable. This one you can find at Walgreens. This one you can find at Dollar General. But both items are worth having. And then for my color liners, the two colors I've been using the most is this one by Dose of Colors. This is Loyal. Now, their eyeliners are expensive, but they are really nice. And they're retractable, but then in addition to that, they have, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. They have a little sharpener so you can always sharpen the tip. And so these are really cool. I prefer the eyeliners to the lip liners. The eyeliners are really cool. And then the other one, and I think you guys have seen this, I travel with this pencil liner everywhere. He is a beauty and he goes with so many looks. And this is the NYX Eyebrow Pencil in Emerald City. I have so many looks with it. It's just such a nice forest green in your eyes, but it's light enough that you can still see the color on your actual waterline. And it's not so dark that, you know, you're like, oh, it's just a black liner. No, you can tell it's green, which is great. And I missed one of my favorite... That's how you know I like it, because it's so damn small. This is the NYX Kohl Kajal Black Pencil. And he's absolutely beautiful. Looks great in the waterline. And he's getting so small. I don't know if they're still selling this as well, so that's a little sad for me, but we'll see. Now for lip products, I guess essentially the lip liners that I probably have used the most have been the NYX Suede Matte Lip Liners. And one of my absolute go-to colors is Stockholm. It's a beautiful color. It's it's like a great base for so many like nude lip liners. And another one that I really have been enjoying is Whipped Caviar, which is slightly darker. And once again, I pair these lip liners with any nude lip that I'm doing. They are wood pencil lip liners, which I have no issue. I have no issue with wood pencil liners. So if you have an issue with that, then you're being warned. But if you don't, I highly recommend the lip suedes, the NYX suede matte lip liners. And I actually just picked up 2 more because they're just that great and I just really enjoy them. And they're smooth application, but they're not so smooth that you're just gonna like have a mess on your face. Let's move on to a few lip products. Now, I honestly, I don't even wear like standard lipsticks anymore. Sometimes I'll buy them if I'm feeling some kind of way, but for the most part I just don't really wear lipsticks anymore. Like regular lipsticks. I only wear liquid lips, which is good and bad. The good thing is that, you know, I have a lot of those. The bad thing is that they do tend to dry out sometimes and the formula changes. I feel like a standard lipstick is more durable than a liquid lipstick, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so if I want just like a natural kind of lip, something to add color to my lips, but not something like a liquid lipstick and not a regular lipstick, I go for the NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams. These are great. This one is in the shade Abu Dhabi, one of people's absolute favorite. He's just a great like neutral brown with a slight warm undertone to it. So he's absolutely beautiful, and these are small, but these are fantastic, and you can just throw them in your purse, a small purse, any kind of purse, and you'll really, you know, I highly recommend this. This is a great little, they're great little on the go, just more of a natural. You don't have to deal with the formula of a, you know, liquid lip, and it's not drying. It looks matte, but it's not drying, and you don't even have to line your lips for it. It looks great, and they fade beautifully, and it's so easy to reapply. So Shayla X ColourPop release, one of the best collabs of 2019. From their blushes to the eyeshadow palette to the lip products, but I think that the most standout product has to be their lip products. Now, I loved them so much that I lost them. I took them to the club, I went out, I partied hard, and the next morning they were gone. So it's really tragic. And they were my favorite. So my favorite were BFF3. I love that lip liner. It's so damn good. It's so good. It's so good. And then the Speed Up liquid lip. Those two, always wore them. I love them. It's a beautiful combination. But that right there is Slow Down. So as you can see, it's very, very similar to Abu Dhabi. I never noticed that. I never really put them next to each other, with Abu Dhabi being a little bit more pink and a little bit lighter, because this one will dry down, and as you guys can see, it's a little bit darker. I lost it, but BFF3, fantastic. Like, I am so happy she came up with that lip liner because it's so damn good. And now another, for me, it's like, I like nude lips, red lips, like, or bright lips, right? But whenever I'm going anywhere, I always have to take like a pinky nude, a brown nude, and then like a red and like a purple or like a vampy color, right? But obviously I almost never use the vampy colors, but I like to have options, so don't judge me. But the one that I've been loving for my red is the ColourPop X I Love Sarai X ColourPop. And this is in Arriba, which is an absolutely gorgeous red. And it's just so good. It's an absolutely beautiful red. But definitely not least, technically it's not last because I have a couple other items I want to share with you guys, are two glosses. And these were some of my favorite glosses last year. This is a Kylie gloss. It's so juicy and pretty. and it smells like vanilla, and I just loves it. Doesn't really have a lot of color to it, but it's just a great gloss. It's a great little gloss. And then the other one is also a Kylie gloss, and this one's in the shade Cupid, and this is such an amazing, I was obsessed. I was legitimately obsessed with this gloss for a very good minute there. It was my go-to gloss. It was the only gloss I used because it just has this high shine, metallic look to it, and it was absolutely beautiful. Now I want to touch upon just a couple of, discovered a few brushes. Now, one of the brands that has had me like head over heels, like so much so that when I've taken these brushes and I've used them at my friends or with family, they, you know, sometimes they're missing a brush and they want to use one and they're like, what do you have? Or like, what do you own? Or what would you recommend? And these are always brushes that I recommend, and I've actually gifted them to a few of my friends in the past. But the brand that I'm talking about is the Japanese brushes, and I have a few. This is one of my absolute favorite ones for, you know, powder all over the face after, you know, when you're setting your foundation. It's a beautiful brush. It's super soft, just fluffy, just, it's a fantastic brush. If you see any Japanese brushes, like, by all means, please give them a go. I've never bought them anywhere else other than TJ Maxx. So I don't know what their normal, like, rate is. But I think I get them at TJ Maxx for like $8, $6, things like that. And also, like, this is their blush brush. Also fantastic, highly recommend. These are two other brushes that I absolutely love. This brush right here, the Morphe E34, is just great for contouring and for bronzing. It's just such a great size head. The other one that I used to absolutely love and use was this one, which gives you a really nice contour line, but this one just makes it blend more easily and kind of disperse more easily because it's not so thin. As you guys can see, there's a difference. So I would say bronzer and contour, but honestly, I don't even contour anymore. I just bronze. So I go in with this one with whatever the hell I have, and I love it. It just makes bronzing and contouring so easy. And the other one that I found that I've been obsessed with is the Morphe M335, and this is the current concealer brush that I've been using. So the Morphe G38, it's a beautiful, dense concealing brush. Beautiful. It does the job absolutely amazingly. Now, I was trying, because like I said, I'm not in the Burbank area, but I wanted to find something that was similar to it, and the item that I found closest was the Morphe M335. So as you guys can see there, they're really similar in shape. The only difference I would say is the bristles on this one are a little bit longer, and these are more densely packed. These have more wiggle room. But the other one that, if you're looking for another brush and you don't like Morphe, is the Sigma Soft Blend Concealer F64. These are a little bit similar, but this one just tends to be a little bit more tapered. But I also intermittently will use this for blending out the concealer. So I would recommend either or. This one's more affordable. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below. Feel free to leave any suggestions. Leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and I'll link anything that I mentioned as a favorite that I used down below. It'll be in the description box. It'll be in the description box, as well as, any reviews or anything. As always, follow me on my social medias, Time with Brenda, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!